Hello everyone. From today onwards, I'm going to start a series on literary theory for the students of National Eligibility Test in English Literature or English. I actually plan to make this series a kind of short introductions to either theorists or literary theories, and they are not going to be full-fledged descriptions of a theory, and actually I just want to make you understand the basics of every theory or critic or theorist rather, so that you can study by yourself in detail. And when you study in detail, these snippets or these short introductions will help you learn quickly and in a better way. So we are going to have these videos. I think these videos are going to be not longer than 10 minutes. And the first topic that we are going to study is going to be Matthew Arnold. And I must tell you that no book on literary theory should begin without an introduction to Matthew Arnold, because it was Matthew Arnold who was kind of a diversion or from the standard literary criticism. And Matthew Arnold can be seen as the point, I would say, where we stop studying literary criticism and start studying literary theory in a manner. So we'll be studying Matthew Arnold today, and as I've already told you, we'll be studying it in short. I'll tell you the sources as well, so that you can complete what I've left. Matthew Arnold was born in 1822, 1888. This is not important. So Matthew Arnold was a professor of poetry at Oxford University, and he believed that literature, although it provides us with pleasing qualities, has another role to play, which is the role of an educational means to educate people. He believed that the persistence of English culture was threatened by the growth of Philistine values. Philistine values, we can say the tendency of the middle class to run after money and to be money-minded, which were being encouraged by the rise of middle class obsessed with material wealth. I have already told you that. Now he thinks that this Philistinism or this money-mindedness can be dealt with the help of poetry, because what would poetry do? Poetry would interpret life for us all, and it will console us, and it has always done that, beginning from the antiquity. Arnold defined culture. This is very important. Remember, Arnold defined culture as the best that has been thought and said in the world, in his book Culture and Anarchy, which was written in 1869. And this culture of or as defined by Matthew Arnold, was a wall against the chaotic life of the working class. Okay, means this culture, which was promoted by poetry, was kind of a wall, means it stopped the chaos of life in the lives of middle class families. Now something I left for you, these 7 or 8 lines. You can pause the video and read them. The next thing I'm going to discuss with you is a problem with Arnold's ideas. Now see, the recent theories or recent theorists think that the culture as defined by Matthew Arnold is something problematic, because they think that all people at all times are not able to aspire the same ideals, which is the true essence of culture according to Matthew Arnold. Means Matthew Arnold thinks that the culture has this power, that it can transcendent beyond boundaries, transcendent beyond all ages, means culture is same for all ages. But the recent theories or critics think that it is not possible for a single thing, be it a culture, for transcend the boundaries of ages. Okay, means culture is not something eternal, that can be transcended through ages, or transcended to ages, means something which was culturally fit in 14th or 13th century might not be fit for the 21st century or 20th century. This is the main objection which was raised by the recent theorists as regards to the theory of Matthew Arnold. The last thing is basically Arnold saw literature as the domain of high-minded intellectuals, and his definition excluded the writing of a large part of the populace. Means there is one more problem with Matthew Arnold. He thinks that the poetry and literature are the domain of people who are highly intellectual or intelligent, and he does not consider poetry written by laymen or people who are not related to universities, or people who are not professors or teachers at universities. He does not consider the poetry written by those people. So this is the problem. One more problem with Matthew Arnold. So I am hinting you now. You can go and read Matthew Arnold. You can have some books like if you want to read criticism, you can have B. Prasad, or you can also have Pramod Kumar. These are some of the books on criticism. You can go through them. And as far as Matthew Arnold is concerned, you should also read his touchstone method, and especially the drawbacks or the limitations of the method, that is touchstone method. That will be all that I am going to teach you about Matthew Arnold. In the next video we will be discussing T.S. Eliot. Okay, that will be all for now. Thank you.